What's up? What's up? What's up, you guys? We are here for Raising Kanan season 4, episode 4. 3, 4, 4. So look, this episode, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, it wasn't really giving a whole lot. It was I guess it was setting us up for what the next situation is gonna be. We start this episode off with we see our boy Tremont from Baltimore. He's in New York, he had his hotel. We see him out on the balcony smoking, and we see him, living out, being oblivious to the dangers around him. And of course, we know somebody waiting for him inside that hotel room. So he comes off the balcony, walks back in the hotel room, and he gets smacked in the head by Marvin. Okay. So Marvin kidnaps him. And the next thing we see him in an empty pool, and Marvin is whooping his ass. Now, let's be clear. Rock and Marvin owe him one. Okay. So basically, this is just some straight up get back, going back to season 1 or season 2. And they really just want his connect, right? But they are whooping his. And then they end up playing Russian roulette with him. Rock is there. And basically, he ends up telling them what they want to know. And he was like, yo, if that's all y'all wanted, like, I could have told y'all that. Like, why do we have to go through all this? They were like, oh, because it's fun. Because we owe you one. So they get the name of his connect. And so we'll get to that later. Now, while this was going on, when Marvin was first kidnapping him, we see Rock then went back over Mama's house so she could have a conversation. And she was like, so who in the hell tells their kids that they're dying over collard greens and cornbread, And she was like, look, Rock, I just thought it was time that y'all knew. And she was like, well, how long have you known you had cancer? And she said, that's not important. It doesn't really matter. So the two of them end up getting into it. And the mama is like, look, at the end of the day, I'm dying. That is what matters. That is what's important. And we need to just, I guess, process through it and deal with our what the future is going to be. What is the future going to be from here? So Rock was like, listen, when we really needed you, you weren't there. When Daddy died, you checked out. She was like, first of all, the mama was like, first of all, y'all already blamed me for your father's death. And then, everybody got a sob story. You think you held the family down. If Marvin told the story, Marvin would say he held the family down. If Lou tells the story, Lou gonna say he was all alone, he was all by himself, right? So we find out that Rock was like, I can't do this right now. And she was like, what are you talking about? She said, see, you want forgiveness. And I can't give you that right now. Like, you want forgiveness, and I ain't got that in me. I ain't got that in me to give you forgiveness. So we see Rock leave, and again, I don't know where we're going with this storyline. I mean, I guess eventually the mama gonna pass, and maybe they'll come to some sort of forgiveness, but it sounds like whatever has been going on, we know it's been going on. Excuse me, it's been going on most of their life, right? So there's that. So then we head over to Kanan's apartment. We see he's moved in. They got a little bit of furniture, and Unique didn't unalive the dude, the little dude that's working for Kanan, but he did rob him. And so Kanan is like, we gotta work extra hard to get that money back. We gotta be diligent. We gotta stay on our P's and Q's, because of course he doesn't know Unique, so he doesn't know what Unique looks like. But I wonder if he described him to Kanan, because if he described him to Kanan, his description would match what Crystal said. Some creepy dude with scars on his face bumped into me and I got a weird feeling. So I don't know. It was sort of connect, and it still wouldn't tell them that it's Unique, but it would definitely connect the dots. But Crystal said, see, I was right. We got out of there just in time, yada, yada, yada. Well, in the meantime, child, they done set Jukebox up. He done asked Jukebox to come over to see the new apartment, but it's really just a trick to get him and Crystal on the same page, right? So Kanan leaves them there, and Jukebox was like, yo, where you going? Like, I ain't come here to see her. I came here to see you. And he was like, y'all need to talk. I'm going to go run some errands, and y'all, give her the tour. So Crystal was like, okay. So she's trying to talk to Jukebox, and she's like, look, I'm sorry about what I did. I was, really desperate because I really needed butter at the time, because I had a lot of stuff going on at home, and I was desperate. I needed that to work. That was my way out. And she was like, oh, so butter didn't work out. So now Kanan is your way out? Like that's what we trying to do? And she was like, no, I love Kanan and Kanan loves you. So, basically, can you forgive me? Like, I'm really sorry. And she was like, yo, you sent your homegirls to whoop my ass. Like, they threatened to cut me. Like, this wasn't no, she was like, yeah, but you whooped their ass. And she was like smiling like it was a joke. She was like, I'm sorry, Juke. You're right. It's not a joke. It's not funny. But, honestly, I was just desperate. And so, can you forgive me? Can we get past this? And Jukebox was like, maybe. And she leaves, but maybe it's better than a no. Okay. So then we see Lou down at the studio with Big Trilla. And they in the studio putting down tracks, whatever. And the A&R lady comes through. And of course, Lou is like, who are you? And she said, look, I'm here to help you out. I'm here to help, market, help get him on the radio. We help, we're a team down here, and I'm here to help put this situation together. I'm here to help put the team together. And y'all know Lou was like, I don't need no help. Like, I don't know why you here. Hold on a second, y'all. Hold on. Sorry. But yeah, so Lou was not feeling it. And Trilla comes in there and talks to her, and Lou was like, okay, I appreciate it, but we got it, we gotta get back to work. And she said, listen, I was in pop, they done moved me over here to help you out, like we're all a team here. I can help you, get him on, she said, I know you know what you're doing because you did a really good job with Famous. But no, she didn't bring that up this time. But anyway, she's basically like saying, I'm here to help. And Lou was very dismissive. Well, then the next thing we see Lou getting called into the principal's office. Right now, he's in with the head of the record label and was like, "Look, I sent I think her name is Coolio. Anyway, it's an African name. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be ignorant, but but he was like, I sent her over there. She told me you were very dismissive, and Lou was like." She said, I didn't snitch on you. He asked me how I went, and I just told him how I went. And he was like, no, she was right. I was dismissive because you put me in charge. You asked me to run the art, the hip hop section of this. You asked me to, well, it was rap then. You asked me to run rap, and I know what I'm doing. Like, I've done this before, and I know what I'm doing, and I don't need her help. I'm in charge of everything from what tracks get put on the album to the color of the carpet. Like, that is what I do, and I don't need anybody's help. And he was like, listen, everybody around here needs everybody else's help. We're a team, so I need y'all to go sit down somewhere, and y'all need to work this out. So they end up going to Lou's club, and I feel like they did get a little bit more of an understanding, but Lou once again basically told her, look, I don't need your help. And this is when they were sort of talking about Famous, and she was like, look, I know you know what you're doing because you did it with Famous. You put him, you were able to get people interested in hearing his music. She said, look, B has the talent, but people have already heard what he has to offer and they're not interested. She said, my job is to figure out, thank you, Kenya. Thank y'all. My job is to help you get people to care and want to put it out there. And so he was just kind of like, well, all right then. So he's softening up a little bit, but he still ain't really open to the idea. Excuse me. He's still not really open to the idea, but he is softening up a little bit. Sorry. Oh, shoot. And I'm sure that's going to be Lou's new love interest at some point. Hold on, y'all. So next we see Kanan making his drop off to Pops and Snaps. And he was like, you a little light, bruh. And he was like, we got robbed. And he said, not my problem. That's a you problem. Like, you getting robbed should not have an effect on my money. Like, at the end of the day, what you owe me is what you owe me. And he said, look, we're going to let it slide this one time. But please know not to make this a habit. So then he says, look, Kanan, I got some people that I want you to meet. But I need you to understand that as long as Rock is around and as long as you are associated with Rock, they're going to connect you to Rock. They're going to connect you to Rock. They're going to connect you to, whoever you are, your family. Early working for Stefano puts them in unique sites. Absolutely, Dale. We're going to get to that. You're right about that. And I don't think that's going to end well for Early on either end. And it's going to get Marvin in trouble too, I believe. But moving right along. So then they basically tell him, listen, you need to separate yourself from your mom. Now, at first, I thought they were trying to tell him that maybe he needs to unalive Rock. But he was just basically telling him, you need to untangle your business dealings from your mom. Because as long as people connect you with your mother, then they're going to always go through your mother. They're not going to go through you. They're not going to give you that respect. So we see the rest of the episode, Kanan going around meeting with everybody that Rock has business with, letting them know, look, you ain't got to go to her. You come to me. If you got to, you want to do business, you can do business with me. You don't have to go through my mom. Now, when he went to Quan was like, okay, I see you, young buck. But when he went to Stefano, baby, Stefano wasn't here for it. Stefano was like, you being disrespectful. Like, your mother came to me and borrowed $500,000 to save your ass. He said, and I wouldn't borrow. He said, I wouldn't borrow wet paper napkin to save my kids. So the fact that your mother came to me and put herself on the line for you the way she did, and this is the way you repay her, this is the type of respect you give her, you trying to go around her and cut her out and come to me? He was like, yeah, nah, I'm not respecting that. So you can go on back to where you came from, and you need to learn some respect. Baby, I was here for it. Now, do I think that Stefano was going to take that and find a way to use it to his advantage? Absolutely. But baby, I was here for Stefano sending Kanan on his way and popping him on the hand. Sort of like what Pops did a few weeks ago, was like, pop on the hand. Like, you need to be more respectful of your mom, right? You can see Kanan getting more sinister with every Snaps meeting. Yeah, but I'm just not, what's the word? I'm just not sold yet on Kanan being this big time gangster. I'm just not there yet. I mean, it could very well be there, but I'm just not there yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just not seeing it yet. I'm just not feeling it yet, but it could anyway. So we see Juke is back down at the bar. Y'all know I told y'all last week she found her happy place, right? She's at the gay bar and got the girl flirting with her. She don't even know what to do with it. Because again, Juke is not the alpha in this situation, right? Juke is not the alpha. Juke is, these women are older, they're more experienced, they are comfortable in their skin, they've dealt with real life stuff. And so when that woman came over and was like, let me buy you a drink, like Juke was almost giggling like a little girl, you know what I mean? And because Juke has always been the alpha. With Nicole, she was the alpha. With Aisha, she was the alpha. So she's in a different position going into the gay club with these older women. But her mentor was like, girl, don't be nervous. You young, you getting to know things, you getting used to it. But it's gonna be okay, and they were kind of laughing at her, but not, they were kind of laughing with her a little bit. So when they leave the club, Juke and her mentor, Juke was like, let me take you out to breakfast. So they get ready to walk to breakfast, but then she sees some dude coming across the street, and she was like, yo, let's go, let's go get pizza. Like, I want pizza now. And she was like, pizza? I thought we wanted some breakfast. And Juke sees the dude coming after her. And she was like, yo, who was that guy? You know him? She was like, yeah, that's my husband. Juke was like, you married? And next thing you know, old boy jumps on them and he was like, you need to get your ass, you need to come with me kind of thing. And he grabs her and Juke, y'all know Juke tried to get in the middle. So he ends up pushing Juke down on the concrete really hard. And he literally throws the lady in the back seat and takes off. I still want to know what the lady is. I mean, we see her in the previews for next week, but we'll get to that. So then we see Unique, right? We see Unique. He's still walking around in this hoodie, in this invisible. Oh, we see Unique meeting up with Early. I'm sorry, we missed that. And no, is that later on in the episode? No. Unique is ready to come out. He's like, look, I'm ready for people to see me. I'm ready to be, and Early was like, once again, you have an invisible power. I mean, you have a superpower. Why are you in such a rush? Like, why are you in such a rush to put it out there and tell everybody who you are? Like, why don't you just keep moving in stealth? Why don't you keep moving in silence? So while they're having this conversation, Marvin pops up. So Unique was like, yeah, you're right. I'm gonna stay undercover a little bit longer. And he puts the hoodie on his head. I'm like, y'all really acting like this hoodie is an invisible cloak. Like it is the Harry Potter invisible cloak or something. Like when he puts the hoodie over his head, nobody can see him. Like, anyway. So Ronnie and Early gave Unique the same advice. Well, what advice did Ronnie give Unique? Because I missed that. Tell me, Dale. So then we see Marvin talking to Early and letting him know, look, because we found out Early, he runs the gambling spot or whatever. And Marvin is like, yo, I might have an opportunity for you. I got a friend that's looking for somebody to take over, his gambling operation. You just got to hit me off a little something. I ain't gonna tax you too bad, but I just need a little piece of the action just to prove that I mean something to you, kind of thing. Early was like, I'm down for that. That's cool. Let me in. Let me know what it is. So later on in the episode, we see Early Marvin meeting with Stefano. And come to find out, how they do the whole, they know people in common. And he's basically, it's the job interview. And Stefano was like, okay, all right, this could work. This could work. And he tells Marvin, he said, now, Marvin, you vouching for him. You bringing him to me and you're vouching for him. So just so you know, and just so you understand, if this don't work out, you the one I'm going to hold responsible. And that's why I feel like it ain't going to work out and it's going to get Marvin caught up. Now, I ain't saying it's going to get Marvin caught up to the point where he ain't going to no longer be with us, but it may be a situation that Rock needs to get him out of, which, remember, he done already lied to Rock about even dealing with Stefano to begin with. So I'm not sure how it's going to end up. I'm not sure what it's going to look like, but I definitely feel like this situation is not going to end well for Marvin. I just do not feel like it's going to end well for Marvin. Okay. So Rock and Marvin meet up with the Tremon's Connect. And looks like he's from the Middle East. They're meeting at an Indian restaurant. And, he's letting him know, look, he's letting her know, look, if I put you in touch with my Connect, because she's letting him know, look, I'm really not trying to move no small weight. Like, I'm trying to do wholesale. I'm not trying to get from your Connect. I'm trying to be the Connect. Like, that's what I'm trying to do. And he was like, yo, that's serious. That's some serious weight. That's a serious commitment. And I really don't have time for games. If you're not ready for this commitment, if you don't think you can handle it, then you need to figure that out right now, because I ain't really trying to play them kind of games. And she was like, oh no, I'm ready. I'm good. I'm ready for this. And so he was like, all right, well, meet me back here tomorrow at the same time be alone. So of course, Marvin is side-eyeing like, what you mean alone? Like, not only am I her brother, I'm her muscle. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just her brother. I am her muscle. What you mean come back here alone? But y'all know Rock. And y'all know Rock came back alone the next day, right? And when she came back alone, she was looking good too, with that slick back ponytail, baby, and that coat. Ooh, she was looking good. Rock was looking good. She was ready for that meeting. And come to find out, he's not even the Connect. He has a boss. So he put Rock in a car to go to and he was like, look, the car was empty. Rock ain't know where she was going. She was by herself. You know, she didn't have Marvin. So she was like, yo, where are we going? And he was like, look, either you're going to get in the car or you not. But if you don't get in the car, then pretty much that's a wrap. Like that's it. You basically saying no. So she gets in the car and she, you know, she goes for the ride. And she meets the head honcho. And he basically tells her the same thing. He was like, look, I don't really have time to play no games. Like, this is a serious commitment. This is going to be some serious money. And I mean, I can't play no games. If you can't make it work, if you can't hold up to your deal, it's going to be a problem. And so then he told her, and I'll let you know what I think. And then he just dismissed her. Baby, he offered her some tea. Rock wasn't even there long enough to drink the tea. So, I forgot. Dang, I started talking about Unique and I lost my train of thought. So Unique went to go visit Damon. Y'all remember Damon from, hell, was that last season or the season before last? Shit. It was the season before last, I guess, when Rock took over New Jersey and Damon was the one that was dealing in New Jersey and she kicked him out and put Unique in charge. Remember, that's when she put Unique in charge in New Jersey. So Unique goes back to Damon and is like, look, he's like, yeah, I thought you was dead. And he was like, well, you know, Rock basically killed both of us. So, you know, if you give me a few minutes, let's have a conversation and maybe me and you can both get some revenge on Rock. So next thing you know, we see Unique Damon from 2 seasons ago. He probably told Mafia about 40 Baisley. About 40 Baisley. Oh, yeah. About, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. So from season 2. Thank you, boo. So next thing you know, Unique and Damon, they robbing the Rock's distribution center, right? The Chinese distribution center, which is really her distribution center as well. And of course, people died and they called Rock instead of calling the police, which was a good thing because then it's not on the radar. But Damon gets killed. So Rock now knows that whoever is coming for her, whoever is coming after her, Damon is somehow connected because the guy told her, oh, it was 2 people. The second dude got away. So now she knows, okay, Damon got something to do with this, and this is some sort of revenge. But she also now knows that somebody else is involved, and she doesn't know who that is. But and they tell the Chinese guys, like, look, we ain't signed up for this. Like, we're not here for this. We didn't sign up for this. And Marvin was like, okay, but you did, and you will. And we said we're going to take care of it. We said it's all good. You just go back to doing what you were doing and let us handle our business. We'll handle it. But Rock, this is not going to work out well for Rock because everybody is getting hit around Rock. And it's not a secret. I mean, it's a secret from the police, but it's not a secret. So, they really trying to figure out how all of this is connected. I'm hoping by next episode, maybe, because what Rock has to realize is whoever this is somebody that knows a lot of information about my operation, right? They knew about the Chinese restaurants. They knew about the distribution center and where it was. They knew, well, we're going to get to the next scene. We'll get to that in a second. They knew about Andre, but we'll get to Andre in a second. So this scene was confusing to me. Jukebox is home. She's putting ice on her face. Ju, you know your father. You know what your father gives. You know what your father is going to do. If you did not want your father to exact his style of revenge, why did you tell him what happened? You could have said a million things if you didn't want Marvin to get involved. You could have said that you got into a fight and it was a one-on-one. Some girl said something smart to you. You could have said somebody bumped you on the subway and it turned into a fight. You could have said somebody knocked me down, but I don't know who it was. It was some people fighting and I got caught up in it. Like, you could have told Marvin any number of things that would not have involved Marvin into this situation. But I guess a part of you wanted Marvin to go whoop this dude ass. I don't know. But next thing you know, they pull up at the apartment building. that belongs to I guess her mentor's husband. And he was like, you sure this is the right apartment? And she was like, yeah, this is what she told me. They're on the second floor, whatever. And I'm like, again, so did you just knock on every door until you found the right door? Like, how did you know the exact apartment number? Like, how did you know this woman's address? But neither here nor there. Marvin is getting ready to take his heat. But she was like, no, I just want you to go. Like, no, you don't need to take that. You just want to go talk to him, right? Girl, you know good and damn well your daddy ain't going to go talk to nobody. You know good and damn well what your daddy about to go up there and do. So, of course, what does Marvin do? Marvin, as soon as the dude opens up the door, Marvin starts whooping his ass. But, baby, this dude wasn't no punk. Him and Marvin was going back and forth. He was giving as good as he got. Now, Marvin did ultimately get the upper hand. Marvin ultimately got the upper hand and told him, look, don't touch her again or I'm coming back. So as Marvin is walking out of the apartment thinking he left dude down and dirty on the ground, baby dude had like a big old samurai knife or whatever on his bookshelf. And he picked it. It ain't a samurai knife, y'all. I'm exaggerating. But he picked the knife up and he actually was able to, he sliced Marvin's arm. So now they fighting again. And dude actually does get the upper hand on Marvin. So next thing you know, dude is literally about to stab the out of Marvin and get Marvin good. And next thing you know, and y'all know it was predictable, the bullet goes off and there is Jukebox standing in the doorway with Marvin's gun and he done shot the dude. Next thing you know, we see the two of them running out of the house, running out, getting in the car and pulling off. Now, mind you, it's power, so they probably gonna get away with it, but you got two black people running out of an apartment right after a gunshot goes off, jumping into a bright red Lexus. Like, come on now. But neither here nor there, that happened there. And of course, we're seeing the evolution of Jukebox this season. So I'm sure that's one of those events that's going to lead us to Jukebox becoming the woman that we found her to be in the original Power. So we have that situation. So then we see Unique meeting up with Teresa, Sal's wife. And y'all remember Sal, and y'all remember that's how we met Stefano, because Rock had to do a job for Stefano, which was to unalive Sal. Teresa is his wife. So Unique is like, look, I know who did it, and I'm gonna get the revenge for you. And Teresa was like, look, I don't really handle business. Sal never talked business to me, but here's the name and the number of the people you need to go and find. They should be able to help you. And yes, you make sure you get revenge for my Sal. You make sure you get revenge for my Sally Pooh, my Sally Sal. And then he was rubbing that lady leg. And she ain't move his hand either. I said, oh. Okay. I said, oh. Okay then. Now, I don't know who name and number she gave him, but I guess we'll see next episode whose name and number she gave him. So next thing you know, there's a knock, knock, knock on Rock's door, and it's the Popo. It's the Popo at Rock's door. They're there to let her know that Andre is dead. Now, I was wondering how long it was going to take them to find out about Andre, because she was calling Andre last episode, and he, as far as we know, Andre never called her back. So I was wondering how long she like Unique from season 2. Mm-hmm. Well, I know he was rubbing her leg, and she ain't moving. So, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I just thought it was real. I was just like, I just thought it was interesting that Rock it didn't seem weird to her that Andre wasn't calling her back and all of that. But neither here nor there, we found out that Andre is dead. And the police, they said that she's not a suspect, but they were like, but we know who you are. Like, we know who you are, Miss Thomas. We don't think that you did anything, but we do know that he had a meeting with you the night that he died. And did he mention going to see somebody after coming to see you? Did he mention being afraid or anything? And y'all know Rock ain't telling them nothing. Rock was like, yeah, I ain't got nothing. All I know is I ain't do it. All I know is I ain't do it. I can't tell you nothing. I can't answer no question. All I know is I didn't do it. Okay? And so, of course, the police know that she probably know more, but she just ain't saying it. Remember, she left him the voicemail to asking for his contact. Right. We saw her call him last week. And again, I'm just wondering, it's just like, okay. And that was pretty much this episode. We did have a scene between Kanan and Lou, and they were talking about Famous. And Lou was telling Kanan, look, I talked to Famous' sister, and she swears up and down that Famous is not in California. And he was like, she could be lying, but that ain't her style. Like, she wouldn't, she wouldn't lie about nothing about that. And he was like, well, Lou was like, you got any thoughts? And Kanan was like, I really ain't trying to think about it because, be honest with you, all of my thoughts ain't nothing good. Because, see, now they're starting to think that maybe Famous is talking to the police, because if he's not with his sister and he ain't turned up and his mama don't have no answers, that might be what's going on. And that ain't a good look because, of course, Kanan, even after Kanan sort of did, kicked Famous out the house, the apartment and all of that last season, he still got love for him. And of course, I'm sure the last thing he would want to think is about him snitching, him turning informant. But it's starting to look more and more like that is Famous. That is what Famous is. And I'm gonna be honest with you, until I see something different, I still think that we saw in the trailer where Jukebox has a gun on somebody outside, not the scene we saw in this episode, but they're like outside on a playground or something, and we see Famous. We do see that Famous he was in the trailer, and it looks like maybe somebody had a gun to his head, and I'm wondering if that's Jukebox. I wonder if they either find out that he did turn informant, or if they just believe it because he's been gone so long and they just believe that's where it is, and when they see him they roll up on him. And I'm wondering if Jukebox was the one that did it. I'm just wondering if Jukebox was the one that took Famous out. So it'll be interesting. But that was pretty much the episode, you guys. Like I said, this episode didn't really have a whole lot in it. I mean, I feel like it's laying the groundwork to whatever's coming up next. Like as far as the groundwork, as far as we see Rock, making the connection with a new supplier. We see Unique we see, he just wants to destroy, Rock however he can destroy Rock. We saw Jukebox, having her kill. So it's definitely setting up where the rest of the season, I guess, is going to go. But this episode, we see Kanan separating himself from Rock. We see Marvin getting in deeper with Stefano. So it was stuff there. I don't want to make it seem like there was nothing there. It just wasn't a lot of action. It wasn't like boom, 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 boom. It was a lot of slow burns. Y'all know what I'm saying? It was a lot of slow burns. So we'll see where it takes us. Next week, we do have an episode next week. I think they'll take a break after next week because they usually give us 5 episodes and then there's a break and then it's the last 5 episodes. So there's that, you guys. I will talk to y'all later. Shade in the City. I believe they'll do their live tomorrow. They usually go live tomorrow around like Sunday around 9-10 o'clock ish. So y'all go check them out and get their take on it and see what they have to say. And I will talk to y'all later. Peace.